Welcome back to Hannity. Tomorrow, the House Oversight Committee will hold yet another hearing about the IRS. Now, this time, they're going to focus on the tax agency's wasteful spending. And there's still more questions than answers about what the White House knew and when about the scandal, including the fact that the president's former deputy campaign manager, Stephanie Cutter, has now publicly admitted that she was in some of the private meetings with disgraced former IRS Commissioner Doug Shulman at the White House.
What we're looking at are the number of times that Mr. Shulman was cleared into the White House. It doesn't necessarily mean he went to a meeting. Number three, many of those meetings were for healthcare implementation. I was in them with him. So there's nothing nefarious going on. This is a fabricated debate.
All right, also the left-wing media, they're ratcheting up their efforts to defend the president. Watch this from NBC News.
The IRS is being used in exactly the same way as they tried to use the president's birth certificate. You see, for Republicans like Darrell Issa, who knows something about arson, the IRS now stands for something inflammatory. Those three letters are now on fire with political corruption and malfeasance, burning hot, just like that suspicious fire that engulfed Mr. Issa's warehouse back in 1982. And despite the complete lack of any evidence linking the president to the targeting of Tea Party groups, Republicans are using it as their latest weapon in the war against the black man in the White House.
Oh, pretty unbelievable. Now, the American people don't seem to be buying that spin because, according to a brand new Bloomberg poll, 47% believe the president is not being truthful when he claims he didn't have prior knowledge about the IRS scandal. All right, joining us now to debate the issue, author Michelle Malkin and Democratic strategist James Carville. This is going to be interesting. We'll get with two very articulate people. James, are you concerned with the admission that people have been targeted in this country because of their political beliefs? Does that bother you?
Yes.
Tell me more.
Well, let me put it this way. If there was a Republican president and she was on the other foot as when they were auditing NACP, I thought that we should get to the bottom of it. I think it's a perfectly legitimate question to ask. The idea that the White House was directing it, I think, is really, really remote. But I don't really blame you or Republicans for asking questions about this. I would find any targeting of anybody based on political beliefs to be offensive.
All right, but I'm a registered conservative.
Well, whatever.
All right, Michelle Malkin, I see shock on Michelle Malkin's in a state of shock.
Yeah, there's my shocked face. I'm glad to hear that admission. I'd like to hear it more from the ilk and minions of the Democratic Party and among James Carville's cohorts. And I think it's especially valuable that we get that admission because, of course, Mr. Carville himself worked for the notorious witch hunter in chief, Bill Clinton, whose IRS tactics really have now been perfected by the Barack Obama administration. You recall Billy Dale and Jennifer Flowers and Paula Jones and what happened to them. Not only the scandals involved in the Internal Revenue Service doing the document and dumpster diving of these political enemies of your boss, but also, of course, the ad hominem smears and the politics of personal destruction, which have now been carried to a steroid level under the current administration.
Look, I think it's legitimate
it's
that
not
they ask.
Funny.
Well, excuse me, but I've been through this. This is kind of stale. But at any rate, I think if they want to ask questions, I think that's fine. I don't think the idea that the White House is directing this is I think pretty far out there. But I don't blame them
Why
for that.
Why is it so far out? Pardon me. You just heard Stephanie Cutter, who is one of the biggest political beasts in the Obama administration and a top operative for the campaign, admit that she was in these meetings with Doug Shulman. She thinks this is exculpatory. I found that to be completely damning and indicting.
All right, James, respond.
Well, first of all, Doug Shulman was a Bush appointee. It was a holdover. Secondly, to Deputy
we're back to that again.
Are you going to allow me to talk, or are you just going to interrupt me the whole time?
All right, James, go
ahead.
Thank you. Secondly, that part of her job, is according to a White House bio, was implementation of the Affordable Care Act, and I think that's what it is. But you know, if there's a question, then Chairman Issa, whatever, should call her up there and ask her and put her under oath. And I don't have any problem with that.
I think that's one thing that surprised me, is that nobody in the administration has been put under oath to this time. I want to ask you both about Susan Rice and Powers, if I can, for just a minute.
Sure.
Look, James, you know I was a staunch critic of the Clinton administration.
Right.
I never called Powers. I never called Hillary a monster. Powers did. And hang on. And do you think Susan Rice? Do you think that appointment was just to poke people in the eye? Do you think that was a good move?
Well, first of all, she's eminently qualified. She's a Phi Beta Kappa at Stanford. She's a Rhodes Scholar. She worked in the National Security Council in the Clinton administration. She's UN ambassador. Yeah, I think that the president likes her, and he felt bad about having to pull her down with Secretary of State, and I think he won the election, and he's going to appoint her. And if it irritates some people, I don't think that bothers him in the least bit. Right. And I'm not, look, I was a big friend of Richard Holbrooke, who she famously didn't get along with. But that's his choice. He won the election.
You think it's a
She's
poke
obviously
in the eye,
qualified.
You think because she doesn't have to be confirmed here? Do you think? Yeah, he's kind of saying, "Too bad what you think."
Yeah. I don't think he cares. I don't think he cares what you think or I think or anybody else does. I think he thinks that he's entitled to this appointment as the person. He's got a qualified person that he likes a lot, and he wants in that position.
All right, Michelle?
It's not just a poke in the eye. It's a middle finger to all of the victims of the Benghazi disaster. And I understand that in a previous statement that James Carville himself had said that Benghazi was quote unquote nothing. You tell that to the 4 victims who died at Benghazi as a result of the incompetence and the lying of this administration. It is the utmost in naked contempt, defiance to put this woman in any position of responsibility when it comes to national security. You say she's eminently qualified and cite all of her academic credentials when there are people on both sides of the aisle, both Foreign Policy and the Daily Caller, that have raised questions about her 2-decade-long record of incompetence as a State Department official under your boss's administration.
Quick response, James, and we got to go.
Look at the record.
Yeah,
I know it's so funny to you.
Okay.
It's all so funny. It's not.
Again, what I think is as it's been, she's totally exonerated. She was parroting CIA talking points. Everybody knows that. It's all been in the investigation that's out there. And I didn't say Benghazi itself was nothing. In fact, the Secretary of State apologized for it. I think that was something.
You said it was
but
nothing.
All of the,
I saw it.
Excuse me, do I get to talk or just you? Because if that, let me know.
It's a conversation.
Okay. All right.
All right, guys, we're gonna have to end it there. Appreciate it. Good to see you both. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.